It starts with an accident, and in dozens of cases, it ends with a horrific death.
Our consumer team first told you about an investigation into 1993 and 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokees last year. But in many cases, Derek, the victims don't live to talk about it. But we found one survivor who wants to speak out about her life-altering experience on a Virginia interstate and her mission to get these vehicles off the road.
Their back end was right in the guardrail and I saw it burning.
It is the first time Jenelle Embry has returned to this section of I-81 near Winchester, Virginia.
This accident, as chaotic as it was, didn't kill anybody immediately.
No, it was miraculous. Everybody was alive. We were all alive.
October 5th of last year, Jenelle and her dad took his new PT Cruiser out for an evening drive. Behind them, Heather Santer drove her son Zachary and a friend in her 1998 Jeep Grand Cherokee. It was Columbus Day weekend, and the boys were coming home from college for a break.
As soon as we got up to 81, we never even got up to speed. We saw the traffic jam immediately.
But apparently, the driver of a big rig did not. According to this police report, the driver took his eyes off the road. He plowed into the back of Heather's 1998 Jeep Grand Cherokee, going 65 miles an hour. The Jeep then crashed into the 2002 PT Cruiser, carrying Jenelle and her dad.
I was kind of hyperventilating and just sobbing because I saw a small fire right at the back bumper of that Jeep.
Jenelle's dad sprung into action.
He's leaning in the vehicle and he's talking to them and he's telling them there's a fire and you have to get out. The mom, she must have known something was happening because she kind of looked at my dad and Zachary. She reached down and she undid his latch.
Her dad was able to save Zachary, but he wanted to do more.
As my dad kind of went around the front of the vehicle, it was like this gush of wind, only it was fire. And the fire just went from the back of the vehicle to the front. Zachary was standing there and, you know, of course he's screaming, "Mom, Mom." And she just burned to death right in front of us, as well as the kid in the back.
We talked to Clarence Ditlow, the executive director for the Center for Auto Safety, back in 2011.
The people that are lucky survive. I mean, but there's absolute tragedies. There's the gasoline.
The Center for Auto Safety believes the placement of the plastic gas tanks in these late-model Jeep Grand Cherokees can lead to fires and deaths. The gas tank is located behind the rear axle, literally in the crush zone of the vehicle. In 2009, the Center for Auto Safety used government data to make the case to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration that it should investigate fiery crashes that involved 1993 to 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokees. In 2005, Chrysler moved the gas tank in front of the rear axle. The company says it did that to provide more cargo space.
You'll have a huge ball of fire, and people can't get out of the vehicles before they burn.
You know, this was all like 60 seconds from impact.
The two people who died here in that devastating chain reaction crash could be added to a growing list of mothers, fathers, and children who died by fire in a late model Jeep Grand Cherokee. Jenelle is afraid that more people may die before the government takes action.
I've had lots of nightmares and lots of terrible flashbacks, and I just feel like I need something to channel this anxiety into.
So Jenelle channeled that energy by starting an online petition.
If we get enough caring people to sign, I'm hoping we can do something about it.
It's posted on change.org. Jenelle wants NHTSA and Chrysler to recall these late-model Jeep Grand Cherokees. Already, more than 500 people have signed it, including one family member of Heather Santer.
It says, after having watched my husband, in-laws, and nephew mourn the loss of their sister, daughter, and mother due to a horrific accident, I sincerely hope there's an investigation and a recall to make everyone safe.
Jenelle says she hopes her efforts will not be in vain.
We were all equally alive, and we weren't in a Jeep and they were, and I saw them burn to death.
After the accident, Jenelle reached out to the Center for Auto Safety and watched our year-long investigation into these safety issues online. That sparked her to start the petition, and she plans to hand-deliver it to NHTSA once she gets more signatures. Right now, it's set up so that each time a person signs it, NHTSA gets an email. The Center for Auto Safety has asked NHTSA to include this accident as part of their investigation into the 1993 to 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokees. In a statement, Chrysler tells us,
If we can move up a little bit, please. This tragedy was the result of a violent, high-energy crash caused by a distracted tractor-trailer driver who rammed into the back of the 1998 Jeep Grand Cherokee at highway speed. Indeed, the 1998 Jeep Grand Cherokee meets and exceeds all applicable federal safety highway standards, including the stringent requirements of the applicable FMVSS 301. That's the standard by which a vehicle's fuel system design is evaluated in the U.S. and has an excellent safety record over many registered vehicle years.
All right, Les, that's great. But when is NHTSA likely to make a decision about the safety of these vehicles that are still on the road?
So this has been going on since 2010, and auto experts have told us that it's pretty unusual for an investigation to take this long. Back in June, NHTSA expanded its investigation into these fiery crashes, and they now include the 1993 to 2001 Jeep Cherokee and the 2002 to 2007 Jeep Liberty vehicle. So to answer your question, Derek, we don't know how much longer this is going to take, and we don't know which way the agency is likely to rule, but we can tell you we put our entire 20-minute series on this issue on our website. It includes video of crash tests that we showed you a bit from, and more from a Chrysler whistleblower who says the company knew about these potential problems before the vehicles hit the market. Just go to WUSA9.com and you can see all of this under our consumer section.
You got to make a decision sooner or later.
Only on 9 tonight, there are few things more powerful than a horrific accident to get your attention. For one Virginia woman, the images of that day are too graphic and piercing to ignore. Now she's the force behind a push to get certain vehicles off the road with a bold message.
It has gotten a lot of people talking, which is what I wanted.
To understand why Jenelle Embry wanted this graphic image here, we have to take you back here to Interstate 81 near Winchester, Virginia.
Their back end was right in the guardrail and I saw it burning.
October 5th of last year, Jenelle and her dad jumped into his new PT Cruiser and joined the legions of drivers traveling this stretch of road. Behind them, Heather Santer drove her son Zachary and a friend, Okoye Breckenridge, in her 1998 Jeep Grand Cherokee. It was Columbus Day weekend, and the boys were coming home from college for a break.
And we never even got up to speed. But we saw the traffic jam immediately.
But apparently the driver of a big rig did not. He took his eyes off the road and plowed into the back of Heather's Jeep Grand Cherokee, going 65 miles an hour. The force pushed the Jeep into the vehicle carrying Jenelle and her dad.
We were all equally alive.
Until, she says, she noticed a small fire in the back of the Jeep, a fire that quickly grew.
And the fire just went from the back of the vehicle to the front. Zachary was standing there and, you know, of course he's screaming, "Mom, Mom." And she just burned to death right in front of us, as well as the kid in the back.
We've been following the investigation into the deadly crashes involving late-model Jeep Grand Cherokees since 2010. The Center for Auto Safety believes the safety of the plastic gas tanks in these 1993 to 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokees can lead to fires and deaths. In these models, the gas tank is located behind the rear axle, literally in the crush zone of the vehicle.
I wanted it to resemble what really happens. That image is actually quite sugar-coated.
This mother of two is holding down two jobs to spread the word about fiery crashes that are taking lives.
You've invested thousands of dollars of your own money to try and warn people about the safety concerns regarding these vehicles. Why?
When I saw the horrible death of Heather Santer and Okoye Breckenridge, it took me a while to figure out what I could do to kind of make their death somehow meaningful.
Jenelle hopes their loss and these billboard images motivate people to sign her petition on the change.org website, calling on the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and Chrysler to get these vehicles off the road. Last year, NHTSA expanded their investigation into the 1993 to 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokees to include 1993 to 2001 Jeep Cherokees and the 2002 to 2007 Jeep Liberty models. In 2005, Chrysler moved the gas tank in the Grand Cherokee ahead of the rear axle. The company says it did so to make more room for cargo space. While the government investigation into accidents like these goes on, the nonprofit Center for Auto Safety continues to compile accidents not just involving late model Jeep Grand Cherokees, but late model Cherokees and certain models of the Jeep Liberty too.
They are some of the most deadly vehicles on the road today, should you have the misfortune of being hit from behind by another vehicle.
Clarence Ditlow heads up the Center for Auto Safety. He hopes Jenelles' activism gets the public to pressure Chrysler to act.
Jenelle is one of a kind, and if that's what it takes to get Chrysler to pay attention and recall the cars, I mean, I cannot say enough good things about Jenelle.
I can't stand to see something so horribly wrong and not do something about it. And regardless of whether my efforts are fruitful, at least I've tried.
Jenelle has close to 6,500 signatures on her petition. She hopes others will join her cause. Just this week, the Center for Auto Safety sent another letter to Chrysler, and it included pictures of these 3 children, all of them burned to death in separate crashes when the late model Jeep Grand Cherokee they were riding in was struck from behind. Chrysler stands behind the SUVs and their safety. We're still waiting to find out when and what NHTSA will decide about the safety of the vehicles. But you'll find more on the models NHTSA is investigating and a link to Jenelle's petition on our website, WUSA9.com. 2 weeks ago, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration asked Chrysler to recall 2.7 million Jeep vehicles over safety concerns. The agency linked the gas tanks in late model Jeep Grand Cherokees and certain Liberty models to car crashes where people burned to death. Well, Chrysler said no and believes these vehicles are safe. But we've been telling you about these concerns for more than a year. The problem centers around the plastic gas tanks and where they're positioned in the 1993 to 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokees and the 2002 to 2007 Jeep Liberty models. Those gas tanks are located behind the rear axle, literally in the crush zone in a rear-end crash. Now, tomorrow is the deadline for Chrysler to lay out its case again to NHTSA about why these vehicles should not be pulled from the roads. And one woman is on a crusade to try to get them to change their minds. After a few final touches and some reinforcement from 127,000 people who signed her petition.
This is the petition to NHTSA and Chrysler and the Department of Transportation to ask for the recall.
Crash survivor Jenelle Embry is taking her one-woman movement to a Fairfax dealership in hopes of getting some answers about her mother's 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokee, one of the more than 2 million 1993 to 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokees and 2002 to 2007 Jeep Liberty models that NHTSA wants Chrysler to recall.
My name is Jenelle Embry.
Can I speak to you inside?
Okay. I have a couple questions for you.
Okay, inside.
Jenelle met with this service provider at Farish Chrysler Jeep Dodge. He was willing to talk to Jenelle, but not to us.
You're not invited. Thanks.
I have 2 things to talk to you about.
During their closed-door meeting,
Chrysler is standing firm that they will not do the recall.
I just know when I get a recall, I do.
All right.
Okay.
So what
any questions about the recalls, you need to address it to this gentleman here.
Okay.
Okay? I'm
right,
not going to
that's
answer
fine.
any questions about any recalls.
I'm just finding out what Jeep owners can do if Chrysler does not recall, and really there isn't anything
I can
we can
inspect your
do.
vehicle to make sure your vehicle is safe according to the year the car was.
the dealership wouldn't pass on the 4,000-page petition to Chrysler, and in the end,
I can't comment on anything.
Jenelle left the way she came. She's disappointed, but not deterred.
If Chrysler continues to dig their heels in and doesn't do this recall, people will continue to burn to death. And if they keep refusing to do so, then I guess we will have to continue with court proceedings.
Now, there are a number of steps remaining before the government could take the step of suing Chrysler to enforce its recall order. Chrysler maintains those vehicles, 1993 to 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokees and the 2002 to 2007 Jeep Liberties, are safe, and we are told they will make that same case again when they submit new data to NHTSA tomorrow.